welcome to my house. So my name tag on the front says Lord Malcom Offord, but on the other side someone's written Panda. You get it? Alex Salmond's famous line, remember? When there was only one Tory MP in Westminster, and there were more pandas than Edinburgh Zoo. Remember that? Right? So what I'm delighted to announce this evening is there's 3 Tories in the room. There's a trio of Tories. Put your hand up here, a Tory. There's 4 Tories in the room. Who would have thought you have 4 Tories in the room to say a great tribute to Alex Salmond. So there we are. Ecumenical. Right, here's my. I've got some notes. I'm going to give you some thoughts. So I made up to House of Lords 2001, and Alex Salmond gave me a real bad time about that. You're dandy, you're lordy and lordy. And by the way, what is all this garble? What is this Lord Offord garble? And I said, well, look, the thing is, I'm from Greenock, and if you look in the Lonely Planet guide, it says in Greenock, it says it's not quite the end of the world, but you can see it from there. That's Greenock, right? So I thought it'd be very simple. So when you made up, you're told you have to have a title. So my name is Malcom Offord. And if your name hasn't been used before ever in the House of Lords, you get to just use your surname, right? So to me, to my certain knowledge, there hasn't ever been another guy called Offord in the House of Lords. So that's very simple, it should be Lord Offord. And you have to talk to this chap called the Garter King of Arms, who's the chief herald who explains all this. And he said, Malcom, I'm afraid you can't be Lord Offord. I said, why is that? He said, because of the 10th Earl of Orford, which is a connected name to Offord. The 10th Earl of Orford. I said, well, who the hell was that? And by the way, he was the first Earl of Orford anyway. And he said, well, you may or may not have heard of this guy, but his name was Robert Walpole. And he was the first Prime Minister, so you can't have Lord Offord. So then I said, okay, well, let's keep it simple. Why can't I just be called Lord Offord of Greenock? Oh, no, you can't have that. Oh, why is that? Because the 7th Earl of Cathcart. What's that going to do with it? His son is called Lord Greenock. I said, where does he live? Norfolk. So then I was like, okay, well, primary school was at Gown Primary School. So I'll just be Lord Offord of Gown. Oh no, you can't have that. Oh, why is that? Because the Shaw Stewart family have been there since 1406 and they've got the other layers of our county. So I'm now sitting on a best pal in Greenock, going through an 1802 Ordnance Survey map of Greenock, trying to work out where I can get a name. And I spoke to then the Lord Lyon. I said, why is this so difficult to get a name in Scotland? And he said, because you think like David Plunkett is Lord Plunkett of Sheffield. Right? He just got that. I mean, like, you see, or
that's because Sheffield is so common.
He said, you know what I mean? And then the answer is because the clan chiefs in Scotland have fought over every piece of land ever of any significance, right? So I worked out that I was born in a tenement in Bank Street, 33 Bank Street in Greenock. You walk, those of you know Greenock, you walk down the hill to the mid-kirk, you cross the road to the docks, and in the docks there's the deep water, there's a bit, and there's a thing called Garvel Point, and that's where the deep water was. The fishing boats used to come in. Before the Industrial Revolution, obviously James Watt, son of Greenock, and the steam engine and all that stuff, we created all that industrial stuff. But before that, it was the fishing boats. Anyway, that was the docks. So I said to the Lord Lyon, can I have Lord Offord of Garvel? And he looked up and said, aye, that's the docks, nobody wants that. So that's why I'm Lord Offord of Garvel. So that's why, when I was on the plane back with Alex Salmond in Tars after being the Scotland v Germany match in Munich, which I have to say was brilliant fun for the 2 days before until the game began. He became a lot of chat. That's why. So similar answers between me and Alex Salmond, because I mean I didn't know. I only got to know him later in life. But number one, his mum was a Tory. My mum was a Tory. Number two, he went to his local academy. He went to Linlithgow Academy. I went to Greenock Academy. Number three, he went to one of the ancient universities. He went to St Andrews, and I went to Edinburgh. And for those of you who know history, obviously, there are only 6 ancient universities. And we know the order of those. The order is number one, first is Oxford, second is Cambridge, third is St Andrews, okay? Fourth is Glasgow, fifth is Aberdeen, and sixth is Edinburgh. So of course he had to pull rank on me on that as well, because he was fourth and versus me being sixth. But how amazing to think that until the middle of the 18th century there was only 6 universities and 4 of them were in Scotland, right? And only 2 in England, right? And of course that is why we know, that was why that expression was said, that every time a Scotsman leaves Scotland to go to England, the IQ of both countries goes up. Right? It's obvious. 4 universities versus 2. So then Alex went off and what's interesting about his political career, he went to business first, then went to politics. He was obviously in the Royal Bank, he was an economist, and that was really important about him because in the modern world of politics, there's so few people understand economics. You know, of the current 400 members of Labour members of Parliament, not political point, of the 400 members of Westminster, on a self-certified basis, only 40 claim to have any business experience. That's 10%, right? And in the cabinet, 22, there's not one that has any business experience. Alex Salmond had business experience. Alex Salmond understood business. Alex Salmond understood that whatever he did for Scotland, whatever the future was, it had to be business. He believed in work. He believed in growth. I mean, how odd and ironic and sad that his successor doesn't believe in that, did not believe in that. She believes in welfare and tax, whereas he believed in work and growth. And I think whatever the future that they had in mind, he at least had a vision for Scotland to be a prosperous place, not just a welfare place. Now, where he and I obviously differ is that he's a nationalist and I'm a unionist. But what the hell does that even mean? I mean, we're both proud, patriotic Scots. And if you were to go back to this guy called John Buchan, who obviously wrote the 49 Steps and he was an MP and then he was the Governor General of Canada, Lord Tweedsmuir.
39 steps.
Did I say 49?
You said 39.
I mean the 39 steps. I fell at the 40th.
The 39 steps you have to my office.
And what happens at the top? You fall off like kidnapped. Okay. So that guy, John Buchan, said every Scotsman's a nationalist. Okay, with a small n. He believed in a union, as do I, but I believe in a proud and prosperous Scotland in whatever the constitutional frame it might be. Alex and I disagree. Alex wants it to be in a different constitutional structure. I want to have it inside the UK for my own reasons, and I'm not here to, this is not a political thing, but we can agree that we're both proud Scots, and we can agree on one thing, which we want Scotland to be healthy, wealthy, well-educated and prosperous. And to me, that's so this week, for those of you, not necessarily an advert, but I've just done a bit of work with the Centre for Policy Studies and produced a report called Wealthy Nation, Healthy Nation. You get it on the CPS website. And it's basically saying, just ignore the constitution, just ignore this constitutional thing for a minute. If you took Alex Salmond's word, he said, stop for a generation. Well, by any measure, that's at least 20 years. We're at 10 years. Let's do another 10 years. 2 more parliaments in Hollywood. And let's everyone say, how do we make Scotland the best place in the UK, the most prosperous, the best educated, the wealthiest, the healthiest? Sure, we can all agree on that. Why don't we do that? Why don't we stop all the wrangling on that? And I think if Alex Salmond was still alive today and was in that, and I was able to debate that with them, I would sort of say to them, look, Alex, you share the same ambition as I do. Let's make Scotland the wealthiest, healthiest, best educated place. In the last 10 years, it's gone, last 7 years really, it's gone backwards. And I'll give you one data point on that, which is that when Scotland, when devolution started in 1999, the state spending, i.e. how much does the state spend out of its turnover, was 43% of GDP, okay? And today it's 55% of GDP over 25 years, right? It's 52% it's 52% with the oil, but the oil's not going to last forever. It's 55% outside the oil. So what that says is that there's been a lot of money spent in Scotland. The question is, are we healthy? wealthier? Are we wealthier? Are we better educated? All I'm trying to say is that he understood that, and he understood the idea of economy and wealth, and that's what we had in common, Alex and I. We were talking about that quite happily. At the end of it, we disagreed on how you deliver that. That's all I'm saying. And he wanted to do it under a different structure, and I wanted to do it under a union structure. So when Taz asked me to come along and say a few words, she didn't give me any guidance. She didn't tell me what to say, what not to say, which thank you for that, for doing that. I just wanted to say that I thought he was a brilliant politician, a great man of his time, and I think he ran a really, what would be considered to be a good government. And I think that in a fair competition, we'd be able to have that debate. Alex and I would have had that debate, and then we would have put it to the people. We'd have done that in a fair and honest way, and we did it with a lot of fun. We did it with a good bottle of wine, and we were friends even though we were on different sides of the argument. So I think that's what I'm trying to say. I'm not, nothing more than that. I'm sorry if I've upset the gentleman there. I wasn't trying to make a political point. I was just trying to say that Alex understood the economy and understood that if Scotland were to go independent, it needed to be able to pay for its own bills and be prosperous, be well educated. And he believed in that, and I believe in that, even though we're on opposite sides of the coin. Is that fair?
Absolutely correct.
Thank you very much.